Hey there, I'm Kevin Downey, and I run an agency called Kevin Downey, where we help companies with their recruiting and email marketing efforts. You can visit our website at kevinmdowney.com. Okay, today's topic, unfortunately, a bit of a negative one. I was on a podcast recently. It was a really hotly debated topic with people from different positions in B2B, lead generation and sales and outsourcing and all that stuff. And so why does outsourcing B2B business development fail most of the time? The agreement in the group was that it does fail most of the time, but why was a point of contention, especially with a couple polarizing sides. So what I wanted to do was address this, and I have 10 years of recruiting, sales and business development rep recruiting with my agency. Was a sales rep when I was a kid, of course, early in my career, and then and for quite a while in my career, and did a lot of business development. And then, of course, after did recruiting, started doing a lot of list building and training of reps and all of that stuff. So fair amount of experience from my end, recruiting reps for companies. And of course, I'm very familiar with BPOs and outsourcing firms as we have them as clients, right? So I'm very familiar with their setups and what they do, right? So if we look at it, why does outsourcing reps fail today, 2025, right? Why is it so difficult to make it work? So first thing is just pure cost and getting ROI out of the reps, right? So if you're outsourcing reps, let's say in the United States, and you're looking at reps that are making 50, 60, 75,000 at a firm or an agency, a BPO, right? And the company that's outsourcing them has to make their nut, right? They've got to make their end of the take on top of that. So now you're $2,500, $3,000 in their end of the take, right? Generally speaking, not to mention taxes and insurance and all that stuff. I mean, you're sitting there looking at, roughly $10,000. I mean, minimum $7,500, $8,000 a month, but $10,000 a month, very, very hard in 2025 to ROI off of that kind of number. That's a lot of money for business development, right? At that point, I would rather the sales reps and the companies do their own business development, right? So cost of reps and outsourcing and the layers that you have to create and all that stuff just makes it really hard. You're not going to have enough conversations in the course of a day on average to be able to make that math work, right? So that's really problem number one. Now, the solutions to that are a couple of things. Number one, agencies and BPOs are doing more emailing to drive more inbound leads for the reps to help supplement the inability to contact decision makers. So that's helped, but that's still not going to get you there. Another thing is obviously there's a lot of outsourcing of international people who have a much lower cost of living, and we're going to come back to that. And also maybe supplementing them with some email to drive some inbound leads. So now they're getting a little bit closer. But the problem we still find with outsourcing is that the reps don't work for the client, for the company, right? So they don't get trained on the products and services at the level necessary to have a dynamic conversation. And at the end of the day, that's the problem. Right? That's why I continue to preach. You've got to have your reps in-house, even if it's just pure business development. And they're independent contractors. I don't care if you call them employees or independent contractors. It doesn't matter. They've got to work for you, right? Directly for you. So they are trained on your products and services. They feel those. They bleed those, if you will. And they have emotion to the job, right? And emotion on the phone. That's really important, right? So that's a big part of it. And so ultimately the solution that I recommend for companies is build your own business development in-house, right? If your sales reps are too expensive to have them doing cold outreach, fine. Get business development, sales development reps, have them do the cold outreach, gather intel, find the decision maker, identify pain points, generate leads, generate appointments, all those things, right? And if you can't do it with reps in the United States because they're too expensive for the numbers, then do it with reps in Latin America. Phenomenal talent down there, kids that have come to college in the United States, gone back home for the lower cost of living. You have a lot of kids down there who have gotten their online degrees in the United States speak impeccable English. A lot of them have experience working for U.S. companies now. In fact, in Mexico, we see a ton. Not to mention we have the individuals from the United States moving down to Latin America, particularly Mexico. So you've got a lot of talent down there to work with, and generally speaking, for business development, you're talking base salaries in the 10 to 20,000 range a year. Very, very cost effective when they work for you directly. Right? Whether, again, as an employee, which bigger companies will employ people internationally, small businesses usually won't, but whether you're working with them directly, you employ them or you make them an independent contractor, doesn't matter. They work exclusively for your organization. You train them on your products and services. They work for you. They have emotion about what you do as a company when they hit the phones and they hit the ground running every day. Okay. So if you need any help, we've got talent all the time, Latin America, United States. Reach out to us, KevinMDowney.com. Thanks for being here today. Best of luck in business, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.